Good morning again. Yeah, I thought I'd put another video up. I've just put one up on the carbon filament lamp, and I thought, yeah, I'll put another one up. Anyhow, this possibly will explain why I've got so many of certain things. As you can see, I've got barometers, many barometers, and a load more apart from those. The reason, well, at least I think the reason I've got these, possibly goes back to school days. Yeah, I did go to school. Secondary Modern, I think it was called. Not a bad school. Also brings back memories of the trolley buses, which used to run next to the school. So yeah, it does bring back memories. And those who know the area, Carter's Seeds, which is very close by. You've got Carter's Bridge. Okay, the seed trial area's gone, and their little like garden centres now gone. I think it's a housing estate now. How things have changed. And obviously you've got the railway running the other side of the road with its open crossings, which seemed a bit dangerous at the time. But anyhow, I drift off talking about things which go back time. This brought me back to a lesson which I was having by the science master. As far as I remember, it was a Mr. Goddard. He's no longer not with us anymore, I would think. He'd be well over 100 if he is still alive. He was, I think, a deputy head, they called them, but he was quite good with his science subjects. I think he done maths as well. Unfortunately, as you know, I was number blind, which I didn't realise at the time. I don't think anyone realised there was such a complaint as being number blind, but I was, and obviously, in my belief, it held me back from lots of things. I just couldn't get the passes I required in maths and perhaps history, referring to dates. One date meant more or less the same as any other date, unless I can remember it by a certain way. Okay, 12:15 was lunch break, and it just happened to be the same date as the Magna Carta was signed. Anyhow, I'm waffling off on other things. The reason it probably brought interest or caused a lot of interest in barometers, which were then included clocks and a load of other things. Too many to mention here. As I said before, this house is a bit like a junk shop, or I'd like to say an antique shop. A lot of this stuff is antique. And it does bring back memories. Anyhow, the teacher, Mr. Goddard, he was reading out of a book where he stated that that the Duke of Tuscany, which is in Italy, probably near Pisa. I say that because there is a significant reason. He was wanting to have a pump installed. The Duke of Tuscany wanted a pump installed, so he contacted experts at the time, which was Galileo. And all right, he started digging this pump and installing it, but it didn't work. The pump didn't work. Now I remember this story as if it was told to me yesterday. My long distance memory seems to be quite good. Mind you, don't ask me what I did yesterday. Probably forgotten by now. Anyhow, this Duke of Tuscany, which is obviously a very important person, and Galileo, which was also equally important for discoverers of many, many things, including upsetting the church, which you won't go into that story now. He tried to get the pump to work. I think as far as I know, it was a lift pump, called a lift pump. It just didn't work. So he sort of scratched his head and thought, well, I wonder why this isn't working. He couldn't make it out. So he contacted the Mr. Torricelli, Envelisco, got his name wrong, Listo Torricelli, and he was a student of Galileo, and he said to him, well, I can't get this pump to work, so let's go. Torricelli thought, well, why isn't this working? And it was discovered that you can only lift water, I think, about 34 feet. Excuse it not being in metric. I don't like the metric system. And this book was in feet and inches. So it was 34 feet. You couldn't lift water more than 34 feet due to air pressure pressing downwards, although air presses in all directions, and that was the reason. It was simply air pressure preventing the water being lifted above, I think it was 34 feet. So what Torricelli did, he got a bowl of mercury. Now mercury is many, many times heavier and dense than water. And the equivalent idea of the pump, you couldn't lift the mercury more than about 30 inches. Also due to the pressure of the atmosphere. He devised, well, the experiment was, he filled up one of these tubes which was more than 30 inches long, filled it up with mercury, inverted the tube without losing mercury into the bowl of mercury, and the mercury dropped down to about 30 inches or thereabouts, which was the first mercurial barometer. That would alter with air pressure. Now he got over the pump of Duke of Tuscany's land, the pump, by introducing 2 stages. So you'd bring the water up to a certain stage, which was well below the 34 inches, and then another pump which pumped that up to the height that was required. So he got over the little problem. It was a 2-stage lift pump, I believe it was called. So that's probably why I've got so many barometers. I don't know. I've collected in the past loads of things. As you can see, thermometers, and this is just in one room. You can't get into the room upstairs, or very difficulty with lamps, telephones. Hopefully these will find another home when I eventually kick the bucket. Hopefully not too soon. I'd like to make 100, but I don't think these old bones would quite make 100. As I say, I live with my lovely pussycat. He's down there, he's probably jumping like. He suffers from the same things as I do. We're a bit dodgy on our pins. My legs are all, but not legs, it's the feet mainly. I think it's due to gout, which the doctors don't seem to know anything about. Anyhow, that was that. Now also, must be mentioned, I think it was a burgomaster of Magdeburg, which is, at the time was East Germany, and he was the burgomaster of East Germany, Magdeburg. He was a bit of an experimenter, and he constructed a water barometer which he fitted on the side of his house, which was over 34 inches, so that it would act the same way as the Torricelli version using mercury. And this barometer, it was a barometer, barometer means pressure, and it was installed with, I think they called a mannequin, which when the weather was good, the barometer obviously goes up. Good weather, barometer's up higher. Bad weather, it drops down. So this was made so when it was good weather, the mannequin showed above the actual tube, 34 feet or thereabouts. Also, the same gentleman, I think his name was Otto von Guericke, he showed how pressure was quite a strong point, and the hemispheres of Magdeburg, there were two half spheres put together, so they fitted together to make a cube, not a cube, a circular, a ball shaped, and he evacuated all the air that was in them, so it was a vacuum, and it took teams of horses to pull them apart. That's another little bit of useless information I picked up over the years. That was Magdeburg spheres, which just stuck in my mind. Anyhow, let me show you some of the barometers, perhaps a bit closer. We've got the Admiral Fitzroy. Now he sailed with Charles Darwin, and he was very well known for weather conditions. I think there's a sea named after him, or Admiral Fitzroy, well known, very well known. Okay, got the, I know this is not a barometer. I picked this up many years ago. A friend actually gave it to me. It's the Vienna regulator. The minute, or rather second hand, isn't in seconds. It's actually, I believe, a bit less than a second. This is unusual, well, usual for these. It's got one weight, so it's just shows time. So the long we've got more Aneroid barometers means without liquid. You've got the type that does have liquid, which is obviously this one, Spelzini, an Italian gentleman. I met his great-great-grandson many years ago, and obviously the Admiral Fitzroy is a stick-type barometer which also uses mercury. Now turning round, we've got a few more. There's a few more upstairs. I won't go upstairs. What is upstairs, and I haven't shown you it, is what is called a Bordon Barometer. And a Bordon Barometer relies on a U-shaped, or almost a U-shaped, circular evacuated tube which tends to straighten and goes back to a U depending on the pressure. That's a Bordon type. They were brought out in France. I think it was called a metallic barometer as well. Here we got the old one they used to call a banjo. The real name's a wheel barometer. Few more there. I could probably talk all day long. I'm not going to. Here we've got the, they call it an onion top. Bought this one many years ago. I think it came from that junk shop across the road from where I used to live. There's a few more barometers there. That's rather nice because it's a thermometer built into it as well in the base of the face. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I've been talking too long. It's just a little bit of interest, which, you know, you pick up these things. It was, I must admit, through going to many, many boot sales where barometers were often on sale for a couple of quid or £5, depending what they were. People didn't really know the full value. Mind you, these banjo types were not seen in boot sales. These always seem to command a high price. But the little aneroid type, aneroid without liquid, turned up at boot sales, mainly because I think people didn't even know what they were. And you could pick them up for a song. And obviously I think I probably picked up too many. There's a load more upstairs. As I said before, it is a bit like probably a junk shop or an antique shop. My pussycat's got the right idea. He does a lot of sleeping. You're a good girl. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Once again, thanks for watching. Any comments please make. Yeah, my memories goes back to school days. A lot of the memories are good. A lot of the memories are bad. Possibly memories of when I worked for the post office or the GPO. I've got lots of memories there. Most of those, unfortunately, are bad, but that will be another story. A lot of the things were good, but a lot of things were bad. I think it was the old case of not being interested in sport. You were branded. You were branded as being peculiar. Doesn't like sport, doesn't like football. God, he's not human. And that was the impression I got when I worked for the post office. And it probably brought intense hate to a lot of sporty things which they did, and I was not the slightest bit interested in. You can't be interested in everything, and sport isn't my thing. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Thanks again for watching. Any comments please make. and I'll pop this up on YouTube and see how we do. I noticed the battery in the video camera that I'm using shows 2 bars, so I could speak more, but I'm not going to. So once again, thanks for watching. Thank you. Don't know what I'm going to put up next. So many thanks. Thank you.